Welcome to our live, and let's have some fun tonight. We got a lot to talk about. One of the things that has been thrown out there, and actually it was thrown out there by Patty Pimlet just about a day ago, and he said that it's probably a good idea if Ilia is going to be out through the summer for him to vacate the title. And I got to be honest, if he's going to be out until through the summer, into like September, October, November, I think it's probably best that he does vacate the title. I mean, and when I say that, there's no, it's not like a jab at him. It's the UFC understands the situation he's going through. I don't want to see an Ilia Topuria that comes back and ends up with his, where his head's not in the fight. I don't want to see him rush back and him being more concerned about, fighting for his kids, getting through the divorce, not being extorted. All of those things have been talked about is what he's having to deal with right now with his divorce. I don't want to see that Ilia. I want to see the best Ilia I can possibly get. So I think him knowing that he's holding up the division, it's just another added pressure on him to go ahead and get back into the cage faster. And it also by vacating the title, it gives the guys an opportunity that are there to go ahead and have this fight. Have the Justin Gaethje and the Patty fight, have it be for the interim title. Give Ilia his time, like probably through like March, April, along those lines. And when he's ready to make that comeback, if he can't make it back by the end of summer is what I'm trying to get at. If he can't make it back by the end of summer, let's go ahead and have the winner of Patty and Justin Gaethje fight for the title. And then you've got Arman, who's been there patiently waiting for his title shot. And I'm not sure. I doubt he'll fight again. From what I understand, he's talking about being the backup for this fight coming up. We'll see if he ends up being the backup for the fight. But I think it's kind of hard to be the backup for a fight going through the holidays. And the way I've seen the videos of how Arman likes to eat, I highly doubt that he's probably backing up on this fight. But if he is, that puts him in a good position, I think, with the UFC. But then we thought that before in the past. What is Dave, let me ask you this. What is your take on Ilia? If he should vacate, let these guys fight it out. He comes back. You already know the UFC loves him. He's got a whole country behind him. But he's going to get an automatic title shot. It's less stress on him to know that he's holding up the division. Maybe he doesn't care, but I mean, I think that adds like another pressure on him of like, okay, the company's probably, hey, how you doing? What's going on? They're probably checking with him like once a week or once every 2 weeks. Hey, how's things? Like, what's the status? Like, that's just more shit he's got to be concerned about in terms of defending his title. Where do you think he should be in terms of vacating the title?
So I'm actually going to bounce this back on you and get your thoughts on this. So when I remember back in the day when Dom was injured, when Henan Barral was injured, those guys were out for a year plus. I can't remember Dom's but Dom was out for a bit.
3 years almost.
Okay. But they did do like a undisputed title when Dom was out, right? But when Henan was out, they did an interim with TJ. Is that right?
Yes.
He was at interim with TJ, and so, but Henan was out for a year at least, right? So, like, if Ellie's out for at least a year, then do they do like I feel like we've come so far with this interim idea that now they just throw interim at any possible opportunity, right? And it's because we know it's because they had to sell pay-per-views. Now they don't have to sell pay-per-views, and we're hearing more and more, and I'm sorry, I'm just gonna blow this thing wide open right now, but now we're hearing more and more that like John Anik was just saying that they might have a handful of title fights on this White House card. So the question is the build up to the White House card, do they just have the numbered shows, non-title main events, like big fights but not title fights, in an effort to keep these title fights for the White House card? So now they don't have to promote the numbered cards because they're on Paramount Plus anyway. So do you need to strip Ilia of the title now in order to sell a pay-per-view? Well, the answer is no, you don't. So do you just keep him with the belt, do an interim title if you want? We're already doing one. And then just keep that interim floating around, right? You're not in dire straits to make a champion happen. Yeah,
I agree with you. Like you probably should. I think you should probably keep him with the title as long as you possibly can. That's why I said there's a conversation for him, to have with him, the UFC, and having with Ilia. Like, hey, are we looking to see you return this year? I had a conversation with Angelo today and yesterday as well. Is the 1 year mark kind of like, hey, it's time to cut bait? Like, if you can't fight within that year, let's go ahead and just either strip you or you vacate. Do us a favor and vacate, and we'll give you the automatic title. If we have to strip you, then we're probably not going to give you the automatic title shot when you come back. I think they would anyways, because I think Ilia, I think they understand the situation, what's going on. I don't think it's ever an easy situation where your kids are involved. There's during the divorce, there's all this stuff going on. Like you want to see the best Ilia Topuria when he gets back inside that cage. I think having an interim title, we've gotten so used to it. But the UFC needs titles, whether they're numbered shows that are sure available on Paramount. You still need to have some sort of title at the top for the numbered shows. They're not going to get away from that too much, whether it's an interim title or not. I don't think really makes a difference. But let's not forget, they're paying $1.1 billion a year. They want titles. They want to see title fights. If you don't have titles at the top, people are not going to watch those numbered events as much. And that's not what they're paying for.
But do you think that's true though? Because if you're paying the, like, a lot of people already have Paramount Plus, you have an opportunity to put on banger fights, because not all title fights are banger fights right now. Like I think about Strickland and Hernandez, which is it's showing on my screen right now. And I think about that fight. That's going to be a banger fight, and it's not a title fight. And if that was like a numbered UFC event, because they just had to fill a card, they had to fill a numbered card. If that was the main event, like I'm tuning in, because that fight's determining the next 185 title shot. I mean, pretty much, right? I mean, it could be.
I get what you're saying.
It could be, right? And Dana already said, "Fuck the rankings," right? So you've already got like that fight. It could be determining the next 185 title shot. So you get that component to it, but then you've also get like, I know that main event's gonna be a banger, and so I'm tuning in. Like, you know, Sean's big loudmouth, Fluffy's this like cool, calm, collected, like badass. It just smalls people. You know, you're getting a great fight there. So I don't think you need the title, right? I mean, right now, at least in the build up to the White House. After the White House, I think you do go back to a regular schedule, business as usual, but I do think they have the opportunity these next 4 or 5 months to what do you call it when you like keep everything, when you keep all like your chips here and then like you throw them all at once?
It's called all in.
Yeah.
And you throw them all in.
Hoarding. You're hoarding your chips.
You're hoarding?
Yeah.
Oh man, like my grandmother used to hoard a little bit here and there. Man, my mom is that way for a bit. You know, mom's gotten better as she's gotten older. Look, I understand what you're trying to say. They have the freedom now, and I think I had this conversation. Like I said, I had this conversation with Angelo. He's like, no, now that doesn't matter as long as you put on the most exciting fights. Is that kind of where we're going? Because they're getting away from having guys like Fakhretdinov, right? They cut him. They let him go. He was up for his contract. He's got 7 wins in the UFC, hasn't lost. Like there was all this conversation about like that they didn't renew his contract. And by not renewing his contract, the guy who's undefeated in the UFC, why would you not? That was the question. Well, the answer is, are they going to start going that way? They considered him to be maybe not as exciting of a fighter. So are they going to move away from that? I guess that's the biggest question. Are we just going to get now the best fights possible in terms of bangers, but are we moving away from actually being the best fighter, the best fighting the best? I did the show the other day, and there's a clip on our YouTube channel about Khabib talking about, no, the sport should be the best versus the best. That's why you have the World Cup. Am I right, Dave? Like you
should be.
You guys will never make it to the World Cup, but
we made it.
Oh, you did? You're there?
Yeah, we qualified.
You guys gonna make it out of the group round?
We'll see. Don't know about that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Hey, we made it. We made it though. That's the first step in the right direction. But so are we just basically saying like, let's just put on the best fights, and a wrestler's going to be involved now that they know that they're making so much money. Now they know that it's just about entertainment. Like, do we even need to see wrestlers anymore? And Khabib talked about that. We don't see the best versus the best anymore. What we do see is we basically see like who's the best talker, who's the best influencer, who has the most followers. That's what you're getting. I mean, there could be an argument made, and I have no disrespect towards him. I love the guy, watching him fight, all those things. There could be an argument made that Sean O'Malley was pushed in that direction. You know, he had a controversial win over Piotr Jan. It was a good fight. You know, I got to be honest. Sean O'Malley, that was the fight that kind of that kind of got me to be more on his side. I was like, I don't know about him. And then he goes out there. He had a great fight. I don't know if it was enough to win. I let the judges make the call. They said he won, but ultimately it was very controversial. And then he goes out and he beats Aljo, though. So he proved everyone wrong by knocking out Aljo. My point is, though, is that guys like Aljamain Sterling, are they going to fade away? Guys that guys like Fakhretdinov, are they going to fade away? Guys that are wrestlers and have a wrestling base, even though they can be exciting, like, are they going to fade away? Because the UFC is like, we don't need them anymore. We're getting $1.1 billion a year, $7.7 billion for 7 years. Like, do we need this? Let's just find the most exciting, the best stand-up fighters, and let's go out there and put on. Basically, we're turning this sport into kickboxing in smaller gloves. Is that what we're doing? That's a question that that's over time. We'll find out. But it does scare me a little bit because we're getting away from the grapplers. We're getting away from the wrestlers. And that's what made this sport. The wrestlers and the jiu-jitsu guys is what created this sport, what made it so great. There was no real great strikers early in the sport. There's a couple guys that were good, but
you're not getting away from them though, Josh.
What's
you're
that?
Really not getting away from them though. I mean, like, you look at 35, right? You get Merab and Umar right at the top there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not getting away from, you get Hamzat as a 185 champ, Islam as 170 champ. Like, you're not getting away from wrestlers.
No. Like, what I'm saying though is that will they start to make it that way now as we're moving into the CBS deal? Are they going to start? Because think about this: they're letting those guys go. Makayev, Makayev was released. They said, "Hey, we don't want to deal with him." He was difficult to deal with, from what everyone says. Now you've got
Dana loves that.
Fakhretdinov. Yeah, Dana loves when guys are difficult to deal with. Fakhretdinov, right? Basically undefeated in the UFC, was up for a new contract. They didn't renew him. Why would you not renew somebody?
I mean, you're taking a single case, so I think
that's two cases.
Okay, but you're taking one case. It's like contract was up, didn't renew him. You're taking one case where he's a pain in the ass to deal with, and we know that, like, Dana's cut guy or not renewed guys that were a pain in the ass to deal with before.
But had he been exciting, would they have kept him?
So I do think there is a point that you're making that, like, is valid, and there's no urgency to just have like the toughest guy, the guy that's like the most technical, or the guy that's like, the best, as I guess you're putting it. But then also, like, there's also an opportunity right now with the guaranteed money to diversify the portfolio a little bit, because you do look at the rise of a lot of these guys from the same place that are just dominating. And if I'm a UFC, like, I just want every single one of them as my champion, and then watch them dominating every other guy that's trying to come up.
Yeah, I understand. I do understand what you're saying. I do think that promotions have stepped away from bringing in more Dagestan fighters or Russian style fighters, or Chechenian fighters, or Kazakhstan, like fighters from those areas that have really good wrestling, very dynamic on the feet, but also have really good wrestling and very good ground control. They've stepped away from that. They're trying to get away from that style of fighting. But when I'm talking about, what I'm talking about is that guys like Islam, guys like Hamzat Chimaev, we're already in on them. They're champions, right? But guys like Fakhretdinov I think he was ranked like number 14 or number 12 or something at the time when they let him go. I think he was right inside the top 15 rankings. And by letting him go, they just didn't renew him. And so are we going to step away? Are they going to step away now with the new contract? I guess I'm asking you, like, what do you think? You think they're going to step away with the new contract? Like, hey, we just need entertaining fights. We can't have guys that are laying on people.
Hustle Ones, a member, says Makayev was a different story. He acted like a wannabe gangster diva and treated normal staff like shit. So just FYI on that one. I'll just throw that in. But I don't think that they'll get away from it. I could see a scenario where they limit the number of signings they do of, like, the guys that will lay on you, especially the ones that are all from the same camp. I could see a scenario where they limit that, because once you have one of them at every weight division, that's what you're getting. And I don't know, like, how does it stay exciting at that point? Flyweight right now, I've got Joshua Van, who is a Vietnamese from, like, he's from the US, right? But
Mhm.
is he
He
Vietnamese?
lives in
Or,
Houston. I think
okay.
he lives in Houston. Yeah.
And then you get Pantoja, Manel Cape, like Tor- Tatsuro,
Tyra
yeah,
from Japan.
Brandon Roval,
Mhm.
Brandon Marino, Mexico, right? Like that diversity in that 125 division is just nuts, and it's fun to it's fun. Like they're all good scraps. All those people I just mentioned are all going to give you a good scrap, and they're all representing different places. So you've always get that kind of like extra competitive edge.
But
in
that's
the
what the UFC need. That's what the UFC needs, and they've always wanted. That they wanted Tom Aspinall to be champion because he has the whole country behind him. They wanted Conor McGregor to be the champion because he has the whole country behind him. They wanted GSP and they wanted Roy McDonald to be champions because they had the whole country behind them. They like to pick and choose Volkanovski and Izzy. It was good. It was a market that they wanted to grow in. It was a market they had a mainstay in. They were like, hey, the more people, the more fighters that we have that are champion all from one location, there's less views. Like this is a numbers game. It comes down to if I have a different champion from different countries, I know that whenever I have a show, eventually that country is going to stand up for their champion and I'm going to get money. Where we don't have champions right now is in the US. There's no even in the lower level fights. There's just not as good of fighters anymore
just
in the
named Joshua
US.
Van.
No, Joshua Van's yeah. I get what you're saying. You have Joshua Van now. But
Every division has somebody representing the US from like in the top 3 at least.
Do they? I don't
Yeah, I
think
mean
so.
Joshua Van's the champ at 25. Sean
Okay.
O'Malley's top 3 at 35.
Is he top 3?
Sean O'Malley's number 3
Okay.
at 35. Number at 45. I don't know. Does Yair or Diego Lopez? Do they
Yair's
claim?
Mexican.
Okay, they don't claim US.
Diego Lopez is Mexican.
I think it still qualifies as like America because it's technically America. You get Max Holloway number 3.
No, bro, it does
55.
not qualify as America.
Okay, Max at number 4, number 3 at 55, and Justin number 4 at 55.
Yeah.
And Justin's fighting for the belt against Paddy.
Yeah.
Jack. Oh no, Jack Del Mar.
Jack is Australian.
Australian. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael Morales. He's not.
He's
not.
Ecuadorian.
Yeah. Okay. Ian Machado he's Irish.
I think Irish, right? Irish.
Okay. So 70, like you don't have it. 45, we'll say you don't have it. Sean Strickland number 3 at 85.
Okay.
So you got it there.
Fluffy's at 85. He's at what, number 5 or something like that? So he's American.
Fluffy, I don't see him in there.
He's got
Anthony there he is, number 4.
You don't see, you're not looking for Fluffy, buddy. You're looking for
No, I was looking for Hernandez. No, he's number 4.
Okay.
And then Khalil Roundtree's number 4 at 205. Ulberg, Prochaska, Ankalaev, they're not.
No.
And then you've got Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades at 4 in heavyweight. So yeah, I mean, you have guys in the mix.
You have one. You won, maybe 2, like 70.
Okay. I think that's okay. Mixed martial arts is a global sport.
I understand what you're saying. I do. But let's not forget we are the biggest consumer of this sport. And right now, there's no reason for them to consume it.
Okay, but then
there's not a lot of fighters that they're really trying to attach themselves to. And that's not a jab at the fighters that are there. This is in no way am I taking a jab. All these fighters are fucking fantastic. They're all amazing.
But even going through that same list, like tell me Dan Hooker is not beloved by a US audience. Tell me Manel Cape's not loved. Brandon Royale, Brandon Moreno. Tell me they're not loved by US audience. Tell me Marab's not loved by US audience, and Corey Sandhagen's up there as well. Tell me Yair and Diego Lopez are not loved by Leon Murphy's there. Like tell me these guys are not loved by a US audience. Like even Ilia, the champion at 55, like it's not like they're not tuning in because we don't have.
Well, that's the one thing I've always said though, is that the US market is also, they will attach themselves to a fighter they like. Doesn't matter if they're from their country or not. Other countries have a tendency to not attach themselves to American fighters. They're like, nah, I'm going to stick with my Irish guy. Nah, I'm going to stick with the UK person, or I'll go with the Australian over the US guy because I like that guy more. Whereas that's what American fighters will do, or American fans will do. Other countries won't do that. they will sometimes choose and pick against us because we are American. So I think I guess where I'm going with this is the UFC understand that they need, first off, I do know this for a fact, that they understand they need to find more American fighters that are willing to stand, bang, and bring in some sort of talking conversation to get them to the next level, to get more viewership here in the state. They're looking for the American fighter to step up and talk trash and deliver the goods. They don't have it right now. They're stuck. You know, I love Joshua Van. 125 pounds has always been a hard sell. I think it's the most stacked it's ever been right now. It's one of the more exciting weight classes to watch. I like watching two little ferrets get after it and guys get knocked out. Like it's very rare they get knocked out, but Joshua Van's a gunslinger. Brandon Royval is a gunslinger. Pantoja literally will go out on his shield. I love watching him fight, man. I love that division right now. But the fans have a hard time getting behind the smaller male fighters. So the 125-pound division is a very tough division to sell. 135 is also getting close. It's hard to sell. But that's probably one of the most stacked divisions, maybe the second most stacked division in the sport right now, right behind welterweight. So when I'm looking at all this, is the UFC just going, hey, we need to get American fighters? I already know that they are looking for American fighters. They're like, look, we need guys to step up and get it done. We need to find that American fighter, not one, but we need to find like 5 or 6 that really go out there and know how to market themselves, know how to make themselves present on social media, and know how to deliver the goods inside the cage. That's what they're looking for right now.
I will say a couple of our members here, Papagino, welcome to the fam, and then Dave Sandine, both agree that like the champs and their location doesn't matter. So I do think that's the general sentiment.
The champ and their location doesn't matter. What do you mean?
They're not thinking about where the champ is from. They're thinking about the entertainment aspect of him. How does he speak? How does he present? How does he fight?
Yeah,
they're looking at that.
Okay.
I think, and you might just have a preference on, like, I like the more entertaining fighters, that can also hang, like the greatest of all time, Colby Covington and Conor McGregor, for example. But some guys might like they might like Ilia, who can talk well, but not super. He's not like got that Conor McGregor edge, but he's like, solid fighter. Alex Pereira doesn't speak a word of English, but like super entertaining, and all other aspects, fights phenomenally,
So give me a sec. Let me tell you. From a promoter's, let me put my promoter hat on, okay? My Tenori promoter hat. Let me put this on. I'll put on my promoter jacket too, my Tenori promoter jacket. And to be simply put, they need American fighters to sell more TV here. This is where the company CBS is based out of. This is where the UFC is based out of the States. They need to bring in more American fighters. That is 100% true. Now, in terms of what they're saying, that they don't care where the champion's from, that you are 100% correct. The reason why you don't care where the champion's from, you either like him or you don't, because you've seen his rise on the way up. But where they run into a problem is when the guys are on their way up and they're not able to catch the fans' attention. If I have fighters from Dagestan, if I have fighters from Russia or the UK or from Australia, and they don't get the attention. They're like, oh, they're not really from here. Or when they do interviews, their English isn't as good, or whatever it is. Something doesn't attract them to the American fan base until they get to the top level, until they get to like being ranked number 10. Then people start really eyeing in on them, unless they had knockdown drag out fights. Like Mike Malott. Mike Malott is marketable, got a good look to him. Fights, he's a stud of a fighter. He's Canadian. American fans are kind of getting behind him. He has a tendency only to fight in Canada. That being said, like, people are kind of starting to rally around him a little bit. But before that, they were like, okay, yeah, sure, he's good. Like, he's good. He's got a good look to him. But nah, they didn't really care yet. And if you take other fighters that are from from Dagestan, or from the Middle East, or from Georgia, or from Spain, or whatever it was, like, up until Ilia started knocking dudes out, like literally 4 or 5 fights ago, like there was a following there, but it wasn't like, oh man, I gotta watch Ilia. It wasn't that big. And then when he got into like that Bryce Mitchell fight, got into that fight, just like starched him. Everyone's like, oh my God, this guy, it's insane. It's insane. And the UFC's pushing him more because he knocks guys out. We've seen it before across the board. UFC will push the striker more so, and they'll give him more favorable matchups with strikers. But you take a look at the weight classes, 185-pound division, the only wrestler in that weight class is Khamzat Chimaev. At 205, at 205 pounds, the light heavyweight division, there's no wrestlers. There's none. Like, so if Khamzat wanted to go to 205, he could probably win the title there. My point is, the UFC, I think, because Khamzat's made a name for himself over the time, that you're going to see them start to step away from having dominant wrestlers in the game. I don't think you're going to see it as much. They want to put on fight, even though it's free TV, they want to put on the best fights they can. They don't want guys that are just going to control you, hang on the neck, hang on the, and get you into half guard and control the top position, body, head, and maybe occasionally chase a submission. They don't want that. To do it at championship level is different. That you have the best fighter, supposedly the best fighter at that weight class, and he's defending against a guy who eventually got there. Think about the road that guys like John Fitch, guys like Marab, guys like Bilal, those three guys right there had to fight, I think, I want to say like 8 to 10 times. They had to fight on an 8 to 10 fight win streak, maybe even more, before they got their title shot. Like Islam was on like an 8-fight win streak, I think, before he got his title shot. I can't but yet you have other guys that win like 2 or 3 fights and then they get their title shot. And like, I keep going back to him and it's not a jab at him at all. Like I said, is Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is extremely marketable, speaks really well, very likable. Like, just, he has a presence on social media, but he had a can you look up his record? How many wins did he have before he fought Marab? He had a loss in the middle of there too, I believe, to Chito because of the knee or the leg injury. So I want to say he had 4 wins. Then he fought Chito, loses. Then he gets 2 wins. Then he beats Marab, or not Marab, but Piotr. And then he beats Aljamain Sterling. So how many wins did he have before he fought Piotr Jan? How many wins did he have in the UFC?
Okay, let's see. In the UFC,
he had a good run after the Chito fight.
Dana White's contender, and then he fought Terry Ware. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, and then a loss to Chito,
and
then 3 more wins,
and then a no contest,
and then the title fight.
And then the title fight. So he got a title. No, that wasn't a title fight. Piotr Jan was a title fight.
Yes, you're right. My bad.
And
yeah, so 4 wins, a loss, 4 wins, no contest in the middle there, and then the title fight. So 8 wins, 9 fights, and then a no contest. I guess I don't know if you.
But a loss in the middle derails that system. If you, I get it, but this is one of the most stacked divisions in the whole sport right now. And let's go to Bilal Muhammad. How many wins did he have to have before he got to a title shot? I could even go with Islam. We can go Islam too if you wanted to, but
in the UFC, you want to know in the UFC?
Yeah, how many wins did he have before he got to the title shot? No. How many he have? How many in a row?
How many wins in a row?
Yeah, how many wins in a row for him to get to a title shot?
Okay, so he had in a row because he did lost to Jeff Neal in 2019. Okay, so we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10. He won it on the 10th. It looks like he won it on the 10th. So he had 9 wins in a row, and then he had the no contest to Leon Edwards in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, the eye poke, and then he took that. I believe he took that fight on short notice. Now look up John Fitch.
Sorry, he had 10. Yeah, sorry, 9 wins. Yeah,
9 wins. So he had 9 wins before he got a title shot and a no contest. All right. Now look up John Fitch. Okay. My point is that the wrestlers have a tendency to have to rally off 10, 11 wins in a row before they get a title shot.
So he lost to GSP, right?
Yes.
In 2008. Okay. So that was the title fight you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So in the UFC, he had 2, 4, 6, 8 wins in a row.
Yeah. On his 9th fight. Yeah, eight. It was 8 wins in a row. What I'm saying is there was no loss in the middle there. The wrestlers have a harder road to get through. And will we even see them? Will we even see them have an opportunity or a chance now? They're going to be like, are they going to get rid of all that? Are they just going to say, hey, if you're not getting finishes and you're not pushing, for finishes, then we're done. We've already heard, I think it was Hunter that came out and said, hey, inactive fighters, they'll just be released. I think we have to just come to this conclusion that we're not in Kansas anymore. Like the days of us, like of the UFC needing more fighters, it's just not true. Like they remember back in the day when they said, "Oh, you don't like wrestling, you don't like jiu-jitsu, then you're not a real fan." You remember those days? Dana used to say that all the time. If you don't like it, you're not a real fan. And now they're doing the exact opposite. They're actually shying away from that. So I think where I'm at right now on this is I feel that I don't want to see what made the sport great, wrestling and jiu-jitsu, go away. I don't want to see it go away. I don't want to see and let's not call them, like, a lot of them they're really good kickboxers, but outside of Alex Bahia, outside of like a couple other guys, they're not world-class kickboxers. They're not glory champions. They're not K1 champion level fighters that are kickboxers. They're not Floyd Mayweather's type boxing level of boxing. So we're seeing good strikers, great strikers, but we're not getting the best strikers. We're just watching them with little gloves.
Remember Papagino's asking, who gets a title fight faster than what we've just went through, though?
Who gets one faster than that? What do you mean?
Yeah, like he's kind of making a point, like
there's no
these guys have eight fights or whatever before they get a title shot. Like who's getting it earlier?
You're saying 8 fights, so I'm talking about when there's a loss in the middle, the guy still gets a title shot after 4 wins.
Okay, but like if you're ranked number 7 and you lose to number 6, and then you stay at number 7, fall to number 8, and then you win 4 more fights, you're at the title by that point.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Okay, but like on what I'm talking about is the guys that when they walk in and they rattle off some wins. The guy who is the wrestler is less likely to get the title shot sooner than the guy who comes in there as more of a kickboxer. I'll give you an example. The guy that lost to God, what was his name? Vallejos, I think is what he was on the Dana White Contender Series. He fought John Silva in the Dana White Contender Series. He loses. He goes to a smaller promotion, gets I think 1 or 2 wins. He lost to John Silva in Dana White Contender Series. Great fighter. He's coming off of a win. I think he won 2 weeks ago. I think, or not 2 weeks ago. I think he won on the December card. Vallejos, I think his name. I can't remember his first name.
Oh, Kevin Vallejos.
Kevin Vallejos. That kid's a stud. Absolute stud. Dude, I think he's in the rankings now. He's got how many fights in the UFC? 3?
3.
Yeah, he's got 3 fights in the UFC. He's already in the rankings. Now, don't get me wrong. He deserves it. He had a great win over his last opponent. Great win. But in that situation, like there he goes. He's ranked number 13. He wasn't ranked before. He's young. How old is he? 24?
24.
Jeez. Murderer. He's a fucking murderer at 24 years old. Had a great fight with John Silva in the Dana White Contender Series. Gets into the UFC, and then he's got 2 wins. Now he's already in the rankings.
3 wins.
3 wins. Okay. 3 wins. He's in the rankings now. The guys that are wrestlers, they could be in that ranking mix for a while and still be bouncing around.
I think you can analyze each case, though. You could analyze each case because he fought 2 guys who you wouldn't, Song Woo Choi and Danny Silva, right? I'm a casual. I couldn't tell you who those are. But all this year as well. So he's all his fights for this year, March, August, December. UFC loves guys that will fight as well. But they gave him Giga, who was out for a long time. So kind of like to give Giga somebody and say like, hey, Giga, come back and fight somebody who's not ranked as a way to get your feet wet again. That makes sense to me. So if he comes in and beats the guy who's formerly number 4 or whatever it was, that's a special case. And we can analyze more if you want, but you may have a case.
No, I actually get what you're saying. I actually kind of respect that opinion there, Dave. I like that. The fact that they were giving him somebody that wasn't ranked. He'd been out for a little bit, coming back. You're gonna fight a tough guy, a young guy, but if he has a great performance with you, even if he didn't win, he has a great performance. Now I can do something with it. I got highlights from this. Then he ended up winning, and so that worked to his benefit. I mean, for the UFC, it worked to their benefit too because Gigas get a little bit older. Doesn't fight very as frequent as they would like him to. And Kevin Vallejos is 24 years old. He's now in the rankings, and we can go ahead and do what we want with him because he'll start to develop a following. He has a fighting style that fans will clamor to watch again. He'll stand, he'll trade, he'll wrestle a little bit, he'll grapple a little bit, but mainly stand and trade with you in front of you. But that's my point. We're getting to those guys. The UFC is pushing those guys more so than everyone else.
Okay, case in point here, Jack Dilla, young guy, 29, 170, hot division, comes in from the Contender Series. 8 fights, is on his 8th fight. It's a title fight.
Yeah.
He, that's on par with Bilal. That's on par with a few of these guys we just talked about who are wrestlers. Fight some guys on his way up. Has exciting fights, obviously, like TKO all in the first submission in the first. Has a couple of splits against Kevin Holland and Basil Hafez. Has the KO against Gilbert Burns, and that gets him a title shot. Like, I think that's a scenario where you could say, well, the exciting guy comes up, and this is what happens sometimes, is then they get to the real competition and they start having like that kind of like hard time getting the same level of exciting finishes, which Jack Dilla is a good case in point. Sometimes that can hinder these guys. Sometimes it doesn't hinder them, but it just like it slows down the progress, but it didn't really slow down him here. He got on his 8th fight, he fights Bilal and he wins the belt. So don't know. I feel like that's a good case to kind of refute what you're saying. Not that I'm trying to refute it, just that I'm trying to give you some pushback, just so that there's a little bit of room to like have a debate.
You do play devil's advocate pretty well.
I do.
You do. You know, I've seen the arguments between you and the wife. She normally comes out on top victorious, right? But I get it. I understand.
That's obvious.
I got one too. This is where we can play this game where we are dominant, right? Like you and I can like, hey, it's my way or no way, But then we leave the studios and we're back to our real life.
Oh yeah.
So I understand. He's like, oh yeah. Look, I hope it's not this way. I guess where I'm going with this, I hope it's not where the UFC is starting to push out a lot of the top level wrestlers and grapplers. And I've already been told that they are not signing as many fighters from Dagestan, not as many fighters from Russia or like Chechnya or like areas where there's top level wrestling. They're just not doing it. They're trying to limit that market a little bit more. They're trying to sign more top level American fighters. They need to start building more of an American brand with these American fighters that are available here. I guess the next question for me though is, are the American fighters still wanting to do this? Are they realizing the sport isn't what it was before? Are American fighters just not as interested in the UFC anymore? Isn't it like I can see that happening? They don't think it. They're thinking that it's probably not what it was all cracked up to be in the beginning. And they're like, all right, well, I'm not going to put my body through that. I can go ahead and do, other things. Are we talking about, is it like an entitlement or a privilege? Like they just feel like, we're American, we're good. Like they're not willing to go out there and continue to train, put in the hard work. They see the level of which guys like, Habib's team and other camps, that they're just dedicated. This is all they do. They don't do anything else. They have a short period of time. This is what they're doing. American fighters have not done that. Is that why we haven't seen them in this top level of in the rankings? We've got a couple that are there, like you pointed out, two, one, maybe two in each one of the top 15 rankings, but we're just not seeing them there. Are they just not interested in MMA as much, or the UFC, or fighting anymore like they were when it first exploded on the scene? I mean, I'm wondering that, because why do we not have a plethora of American fighters that are out there just fucking slaying it? I don't get it.
I will throw out Navdeep, our member here. He does try to defend your case a little bit by saying Chandler got the title fight after one fight in the UFC, which is fair, but like also you've got a former champ coming over, right? We've seen that several times as well. We saw it with the guy came over from Japan.
Yeah, Tatsuro Taira, not Taira.
Yeah, the other
one.
one.
Yeah, Asakura.
Yes.
Yep.
We've seen that a couple of times, right? Where they come over, they get either a top ranked guy, which actually Chandler did. He got Dan Hooker. Patricio, same thing. He came over. He got who did he get in his first fight again? But he got top ranked.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So we've seen that a few times where they come over from another promotion. Eddie Alvarez is another one. Come over, they get a top ranked fight, and then they get the title fight. Like I think that's not the best argument, but it's fair. It's fair.
I think what it is like Eddie came over, he lost to Cowboy Cerrone, and then he had to get like 2 or 3 more wins, then he was able to get a title shot. I think, but you take a look at those guys, look at the style in which they fight. Patricio's a stand-up guy. Michael Chandler used to be a wrestler. He's not anymore. Basically all just stand-up now. Okay. And then, it just takes him on the chin, just, gets destroyed. And then who was the other one? Patricio stand-up. Who was the other one we were talking about?
Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez, pretty much all stand-up. He had wrestling. He's got great wrestling. Had great jiu-jitsu.
The 25 champion.
Yeah. 25, and then 25 champion. Asakura. Asakura was all stand-up. Fantastic kickboxer / boxer. Yeah. So when you're talking about when they come over, it's the guys that are all stand-up. You're not streamlining the wrestler guys, but we haven't seen any of them come over. Like Yaroslav Amosov, predominantly wrestling with grappling. He gets fed Neil Magny. He was the former Bellator champ. He's not getting the rub. He also doesn't have the following that Michael Chandler had. He also doesn't have the following that Patricio had. That's it doesn't have the following that Eddie Alvarez had when Eddie came over. So I understand that portion of it all. But man, Amosov is tough. Good fighter. Made short work of Neil Magny. But they're not doing these guys any favors that come from a grappling. And look, Amosov didn't get signed because the UFC thought he was boring. And then so they told him, go fight Curtis Merlander. And then he goes out there and finishes Merlander in another show, another promotion, I think in under like a minute 20. Finishes him, takes him down, dominates, gets to the Darce Anaconda or whatever, and then chokes him. Then he does the same thing to Neil Magny. Same exact thing. So, I mean, they're not streamlining the wrestlers.
But you could also say, Neil Magny is definitely like a gatekeeper type thing, and I do wonder if they felt burnt a little by Patchy Mix, where he was a prospect coming over, right? Like everybody says no, and Aaron Pico's another one, right? Both these guys come over. Aaron Pico can be stand up, can be wrestler. Doesn't perform, I think, twice in a row now, right? Patchy Mix, same thing, 2 times in a row. He's just not. So if I'm now bringing over Amosov from the same promotion, and I'm like, all right, let me throw this wrestler in and see what happens. Like maybe let me give him a gatekeeper here, Neil Magny. I can understand that at that point because
you have to also consider though too when these fighters do come over, Eddie Alvarez, Patricio Pitbull, and Michael Chandler, they didn't sign for cheap money. They signed for a lot of money. They said, give me the best you have. And that would be my take on those 3 guys. Eddie coming over from Bellator, being the former champ, or was the current champion at the time. He had just beat Michael Chandler before he had left and went to the UFC. Then you've got Aaron Pico, who was basically supposed to be next in line to fight Patricio Pitbull. And then you have Patricio, who was the current champion at the time. So you have those 3 guys that they came over and they said, hey, I want as much money as you're going to give me, but I want to fight the very best guys. So I understand why they got thrown right into the mix. I get that. Now, Yaroslav Amosov, he had been out for a long time. I want to say he hadn't fought in like almost 2 years. Then they told him, go get the fight against Merlander. He got the fight with Merlander, finishes Merlander in a minute 20. They're like, okay, he's not as rusty as we thought. Then he comes in and finishes Neil Magny. And I think they did him a solid by giving him a Neil Magny type fight. Like you said, like a veteran. Hey, go out there. Let's see what you can do. Get the finish. They care, I think, more now about like with him. Like I said, they care more about the finishing rates moving forward right now for the sport. They want finishes. That's what they're looking for. But the problem is that if these MMA guys don't start trying to figure out nasty ground and pound where there's conversation like Khabib and just nasty ground and pound. They have to get into that. Daniel Cormier and I talked about DC on our show. You need to be a Fedor-esque type ground and pounder. Like, if you go back and watch his fights in Pride, how he used to just ground and pound dudes out, it was nasty. It was vicious. It was disgusting to watch. I felt bad for those guys. And those guys were so good on the bottom. Like, he fought Nogueira, I think, three times. Just disgusting how bad he beat up Nogueira. Disgusting. But it was exciting to watch. The way he postured up, the way he threw his gloves around the guard, and the way he did everything right. And then I think Khabib just took it to another level with all the conversation. This is my destiny, brother. I have to fight for the title. Like, you're like, just give up. And like, those are things that's what made him such a big deal. If you're going to be a wrestler, you got to move into not trash talking, but you got to move into looking for more submission finishes. If that's your thing, like Yaroslav Amosov is chasing that anaconda, chasing that Darce, chasing the guillotine in the back take, always chasing that position. Always, from every position. Okay. And if you're not doing that, then you need to start working on your Fedor. You need to start working on your Khabib. You've got to start putting it together to where you have to give them a reason to want to tune in to watch you destroy people's faces. That's the only way you're going to get love, I think, right now, moving into this new CBS and Paramount deal. It's the only way. They're not going to they're not worried about pay-per-view buys anymore, like Dave said earlier. If they're not worried about pay-per-view buys, the champions will always be at the top of the card, but they're going to have the best matchup they could possibly have, not always the biggest name. They're going to have the best matchup, the one they think is going to be like a barn burner. Look, this Dan Hooker and Benoit Saint-Denis. Benoit, sorry. Angela's always trying to correct me. It's Benoit Saint-Denis. Like, that fight right there, Mauricio Ruffy and Fiziev. They put those there. You could probably go down the card and be like, look, there's other fights that maybe deserve to be there. I don't know. I haven't looked at the card below that. Yeah, Quinlan Salakid, he's awesome. And then against Wrong, that should be a barn burner, but that's also the main event on the prelims. I understand why they did it. But I mean, there's some good fights in the lower, but those are the best names already on that card. Sorry, that's on 325. Let me go to 324. 324, you got Sean O'Malley, Song Yadong. I'm surprised they didn't have Cortez Acosta and Derek Lewis higher up above, O'Malley and Song Yadong. That's a numbers thing. John Silva versus Arnold Allen. Great fight. Looking forward to that one. Let me see what's on the prelims here. Natalia Silva and Rose Namajunas. Rose being a former champion. Look, you got Umar and Devison Figueiredo. That's the co-main event on the prelims.
Which card are you looking at?
324. Oh, yeah, 324. This young kid, Ateba Gutierrez, he's fun to watch. This is his first fight in the UFC. He was supposed to fight Patricio Pitbull, didn't make weight. He missed weight by 4 pounds. So Patricio's like, I'm not taking a chance. I'm not fighting. Michael Johnson and Alexander Hernandez should be a good fight, a barn burner of a fight. I mean, we're looking at this. Go ahead, Dave.
You know why they're doing this card this big, right? You know why this card's as big as stacked as it is?
Because they don't have a real main event.
No, of course it's a real main event.
No, they don't have a real title. It's an interim title, and they've got Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes. But I think they're doing it because it's the very first fight on CBS.
That's it.
It's not on CBS though. It's on Paramount.
That's what I mean. It's the first fight. It's the first fight on the new network. Of course, that's the reason. So
yeah,
you're getting a stacked card for that reason alone.
But the number of fights, we all thought the number of fights were going to be on CBS, and that's not true.
I don't know who thought that.
Oh, you didn't think that?
No.
Wow.
The deal was with Paramount. Why would they do? If the deal was with Paramount, why would they have done? Why would they have done the fights on CBS if they were deals on Paramount?
The same company.
Yeah, no, but like, why would you give them for free on CBS and not make them pay for the app? I don't know why.
Because they want to draw you into paying for the app for the other. I get what you're saying though.
Well, then you do the free fights, you do the lower tier fights on CBS.
That doesn't make any sense because then more free people. That's how you get new fans. That's how you get more people to tune in.
I do Fluffy I do Fluffy and Sean Strickland on CBS all day long.
That has the potential of being a boring fight. The way that
Well, of
Sean
course,
fights
yeah.
with the teep kick and the long jab, and he has the potential of being boring.
I just don't know if Fluffy's gonna take boring.
I'm the same way.
He's gonna accept it. He's not gonna accept
Yeah,
boring.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I think now that he's well rested, he's going to come back in after his injury.
So
He's gonna be ready to go.
remember, like before we started the show, I was like, "Hey, here's the topics we're gonna go through." One of them is like DC and Askren talking about Nate Diaz and how he's not actually a good fighter, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
I feel like Fluffy is Nate Diaz if Nate Diaz had like a really good fight career. Like Fluffy is who Nate Diaz the persona is Fluffy if Nate Diaz also had the good fight career to go with it.
What are you talking about? Nate fought for the title against Benson Henderson, just came up short. Like Nate got there. He was there a couple times, just basically like knocking on the door. I mean, you guys not remember? Like everyone thinks, I think it's considered that the Cowboy Cerrone had a good career. Did he or did he not?
Yes.
You say no or yes?
I mean, he had an exciting career.
Well, okay, but I thought he had a pretty damn great. He never. I don't think he ever fought for the title, not one time.
I just don't know if like win loss is a great career. I just thought like I think win loss 40 times or whatever is like
Yeah,
means that you probably had exciting moments. And you
But-
had a great career from the standpoint of like you got like your money's worth out of it, right? Like you stretched it as the span of 15 years. You fought as many times as you did. You were
well,
active.
I think
you weren't
you
injured as
have to
much.
look at it as ebb and flow though. Like he fought for so long. Like I fought for so long. I had downs in my career. I had ups in my career. I had downs. I had to reinvent myself several times. And I think Nate went through the same shit. Get to remember, there's video of him doing like slap fighting, pancrase fights in gyms when he was like 15. I mean, he's like, of course, man. Like my brother was a fighter. I have to do this. Like like I'm being pushed into this. Like there's no way around this. And so he goes on. He wins the Ultimate Fighter. Sure, he has somewhat of a. I think what people are doing is they're taking a look at what his last product has been, his boxing career. But he beat Masvidal in boxing. I'm not going to take it, but he lost to Jake Paul. Jake Paul's a lot bigger than him. Jake Paul basically is like 215 pounds. Nate's not 215. Nate's probably walking around 190, maybe at the most 185. He's tall, skinny. Nate's 6'2". He doesn't have a lot of muscle on him. So just imagine it's not heavy. He's not fat by any means, but he doesn't carry a lot of muscle. So I'm not ready to discredit Nate's career because he fought a lot of great guys. I mean, he beat Gray Maynard when Gray was ranked, I want to say like number 3 or whatever, and then that's what got Nate a title shot, I think, is by knocking out Gray Maynard.
Let's read their comment. Let's get to the comments later and we'll go into more because I didn't mean to sidetrack you there.
Oh, okay.
I'm just talking about I just wanted to highlight that like Fluffy, I think how like my point is that Fluffy won. So remember Nate versus I'm gonna ruin this right now because I'm gonna ruin the flow of the show. But like remember Nate versus Leon, right?
This is the flow of the show, brother. Like this is what we've been doing. Look, since we started ruining the flow of the show, man.
I'm an OCD guy and I
Go.
create a structure and I'm like when we veer from the structure, I get lost and I just can't handle it.
Snap out of it, buddy.
Yes, exactly. So Nate versus Leon, what do you remember about that fight?
All I remember is the very end. He lost every minute of the fight, but he rocked him and knocked him, and then he just pointed at him and didn't try to get the finish. It drove me nuts.
I think that will be Fluffy and Sean halfway through the first round if Sean is the way he was in the Drukas fight. I think Fluffy will come in, he'll land on his chin, he'll do something, and then like he'll have his moment.
But he doesn't get. You don't think he gets the win?
No, Fluffy. I think I don't want to say. I don't want to say yet because I like Sean. So I don't want to say right now.
Sean's not going to come knock on your door, man, trying to beat you up. He's not coming into Austin.
No, but I just don't know yet. But like I think that Fluffy will do what Nate did in the last 10 seconds, but Fluffy will do it halfway through the first round.
Got it.
And I think that he's capable, and he's capable of taking it where it needs to go from there. Right? Because Nate also landed a shot and then really like kind of walked towards him, but didn't
no,
try to finish it.
Yeah, no
Intention.
intensity. Yeah. He should have went after him. I think he could have potentially got him out of there. Could have potentially got him out. He could have fought for the title after that. Had he won that, they would have given Nate a title shot. 100%.
Wait, that wasn't the title, was it? No, it wasn't. Okay.
Nuh-uh. Leon had to get that win over Nate and didn't look good enough. I think he had to get another win after that again to fight for the title.
I don't know if Sean will get KO'd, but I do think Fluffy's capable of getting a tight squeeze on him.
No, I would agree. Look, Sean's got really good grappling, man. He's phenomenal. He's good. He's got good takedown defense. If his takedown defense isn't up to par, he's got a really good ability of getting back up to his feet. He's phenomenal at getting back to his feet. His whole game is getting back up to his feet to work on his boxing and his striking. My concern, I think, with Sean Strickland and Fluffy is Sean may just try to stand in the middle or try to if Sean goes backwards, Sean loses the fight. Fluffy's going to try to make him fight backwards. Sean does not fight well going backwards, and I think that Fluffy understands that. The blueprint has been laid out on how to beat Sean Strickland, make him fight going backwards. And Fluffy's got the conditioning and the cardio to do it. Sean's used to fighting at a sparring pace. You cannot allow Sean to fight at a sparring pace where he controls and dictates the pace of the fight. Can't do it. I think Fluffy knows that, and he's like, I'm all in, man. I know what I got to do. I'm going to win this fight. And that's how he's going to do it. He's going to do it by just walking him down. So I think in a 5-round fight, Sean, I wouldn't say slow down, but Sean's not going to have the same tempo that Fluffy's going to have in rounds 4 and 5. I think that's what's going to happen. So, I like Sean, man. I actually really enjoy watching him fight. I just think that Fluffy is one of those guys that he's in his groove right now. The boxing, the walk down pressure, and just understands he's in such good shape that he's not concerned about Sean trying to walk him down. I'm going to push him backwards and make him fight an uncomfortable fight. That's what gets him to win. 100%. We got way off track, by the way, because we went from should Ilia vacate into this whole thing.
Yes.
I'm gonna rotate it all the way back. Just simply put, should Ilia vacate the title? I think he should. If he's not going to fight by, I would say within this year, he should. If he's not going to fight by, let's say September, October, we should try to get somebody else in there. You'll have an interim title here at the end of January, and I think Armand should be next. Should be next if Ilia is not ready to fight by then. I'm not sure if they'll give him the title shot, but that's the only way to really go. I think it's unfair what they're doing to Arman Tsarukyan, and I know he fucked up, he's felt like he's paid his dues, all of those things, but it just comes down to the UFC brass and what they want to do. But I think Arman deserves that shot. It will be interesting because if Ilia does vacate or they do strip him, which I don't think they'll strip him, they'll wait for him to vacate. If he does vacate, that leaves the door wide open for Arman Tsarukyan, because then that forces Ilia to fight him his first fight back, because he'll end up fighting the winner of Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. And I think that Arman has a good chance of beating both those guys. So anything can happen. It's a fight, but I think he's got a good chance with his wrestling, with his intensity. I think he's got a good chance of beating him, beating both those guys, Paddy and Justin. Good fight. Great. I'm looking forward to that fight. I know a lot of people have been talking that it's one of those fights. It's not for anything. Like they just kind of made it up and did it. Look, Paddy's been doing his job. Paddy's been putting in the work. Paddy's been looking good, looking really good. Grappling's phenomenal. His pressure, the way he destroyed Michael Chandler was absolutely fantastic. It was so exciting to watch. To watch a younger guy coming up destroy, Michael Chandler was fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch. And then you got Justin Gaethje. I mean, he's the human highlight reel. There hasn't been a fight. Give me a fight that you've watched of him, Dave. Let me know. What fight have you watched of him and you're like, it's just okay? Maybe
Ilia?
No. Justin Gaethje.
Oh.
You could maybe say the Fiziev fight.
Yeah, I think that's
maybe. But all of his fights have been fantastic. His whole career has been fantastic.
Yeah, taking a quick peek. Fiziev, I think, was the only one, right? I'm trying to see. Decision was he fought Fiziev twice, both decisions. Chandler was a banger. Khabib was good. Tony was good. Cerrone, Edson Barboza, James Vick,
Yeah. I
Dustin
mean, the Tony
Poirier, Eddie
fight,
Alvarez.
was a masterclass. I mean, he fucking put like he didn't take any damage in that fight, and he fucking put it on Tony. I was like, holy shit. That was very impressive.
I mean, what
Extremely impressive.
win or loss, every fight ends,
Uh-huh.
except for Fiziev and Chandler, and then Chandler was still a absolute just banger.
Yeah.
So you could just say Fiziev is the only one where you just it just leaves a bit of question on like
Yeah.
that matchmaking was just probably not good.
I mean, we'll see. I think if Ilia is smart, I think he'll understand. Like I can vacate the title, less one thing I have to worry about. I'll come back when I can and get my life in order. And I don't need an extra stress of me holding the title up and the UFC calling me all the time. How are things? Are you coming back? You know, should we push? Are you ready to get in camp? Doesn't need that distraction. And just understanding that, hey, the UFC goes, hey, we're going to give you an automatic title shot when you come back. Why don't you vacate? Why don't you go ahead and get your business settled? And when you come back, you'll be ready to go. Automatic title shot, not a big deal. Who knows? I mean, and as long as maybe they'll even work something out with them, we'll pay you your championship money. You know, if you were the champ still, we'll still pay you your championship money, which I think is fair. So I'm looking forward to that. Dave, what else you got? We got way off track, but I was having fun. We got it rolling, buddy. My Scottish accent.
So I just wanted to take a quick moment because you and I just went back and forth on a ton of debates right now, and I don't think I'm the most qualified to have these debates with you.
Okay.
So I wanted to say that I'm looking through. I've been looking through our memberships, and I want to get some of you members to hit me up on Instagram and give you guys a chance to debate Josh on something. Whether we join a live or we do something separate, I'm kind of open to ideas based around schedules. But if you're a member, I mean, Papagino, Inagrana, Michael Beal, Degenerate MMA, Funky
Dave
Feature. I mean, I
Sandine.
could go down. Dave
Yeah.
Sandine.
Lazy Bed.
We have a strong list here of members. Any of you guys that are currently members on YouTube, hit me up on Instagram, DM me saying you want to come on, debate Josh, and then I'll coordinate with you guys to help set it up, and we'll get you guys debating Josh.
Do you
on
want
the
them to
show.
hit you up on your personal or the weighing in one?
Either one. Hit us up on Weighing In Instagram or Podcast Dave on Instagram. Either one. I'll probably see Podcast Dave first. But either one. They're both manned. So yeah. Anyway, just throwing it out there. You guys are more qualified than me. So let's get you guys in front of Josh and then debate your topics that you wanna debate them on. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next one here.
Let's go. I accept the challenge.
Sean O'Malley says that he thinks this might be his last year. He says, I'm going to go out there, take care of Song, take care of Peter. Doing well is going to blow up. I'm assuming that's a company he works on with. I'm going to retire. This might be the last Sugar year ever. Let's get your thoughts.
Well, Dana White hates when people say that. They hate, like, if you're talking about retirement, you should just retire. If you're talking about it, like 1 foot out, 1 foot, the hurt business is not the business to be in if you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. This ain't the hokey pokey, man. Just get yourself out. That's really what it comes down to. I think he has a tougher fight with Song Yudong than people are giving Song Yudong credit for. I think Song has a really good chance of beating him. Song to me is probably the faster fighter. Doesn't have the reach and the range that Sean does. Sean has the lateral movement, but I also think the blueprint's been released on how to beat Sean. Pressure him, make him run a lot, make him use a lot of his lateral movement, and then when he slows down, touch him, maybe threaten to take down. Song Yudong can wrestle a little bit too. So I mean, I don't know if he's got the submission game to hang with Sean, but I think there's a threat there by Sean on the grappling. But it's not as if he can't be finished. He was finished against Merab. So I think this fight is one of those where Song has a good chance of making a run with this win. This puts him right in that number 3 spot, I believe. And so it makes for a very fun conversation on will Sean end up walking away if he loses this? Because I did read that Sean did talk about if I lose this fight, I probably would just retire. And I don't know. I mean, that's wild to me that you would retire because you lost to Song Yadong, who's a very tough fighter, a very good fighter. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Sean's going to be around for another 2 years, at least. I don't think this will be the last Sugar year. I think Sugar is going to be around for another 2 years. I think it really also depends on how well he does the rest of the year. If he loses to Song Yadong, I can see him being like, "Shit, man, is this really what I'm going to do?" And the doing well, company that he's working with, or that he's created, or that he started, it has a tendency to do better when you're winning. So I think it's best for him to keep his eye on the prize. The eye on the prize is to win as many fights as you possibly can to help build your brand and build your company. So I think that's kind of what he'll do. He's said things like this before. I think he's a smart guy, man. He's not dumb. He knows what he's doing. He's getting people talking about him like us right now. He's getting people talking about him, and it's enjoyable. I enjoy watching him fight, but he knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. So good on him. This is his moment. He needs to get this win, though. That's what he got to do first. What else you got for me, Dave?
All right, moving on. Next one here. DC and Jones are set as coaches for the is it RAF?
RAF. Where'd you get ALF?
ALF. Okay.
Yeah,
RAF. What's that's the thing your favors doing, right?
Okay. I'm not sure. So the ALF reality is like the Russian version of Tough. Or not Tough, of Dana White Contenders, I think. Or no, it's the Russian version of Tough. Yeah. It is Tough. So it's the Russian version of that. It was good. I think I had a little conversation with DC when I had him on the show, but I had it off air. And we just talked about, how exciting it was. It was kind of, like they had their moment to film. They had their moment to, kind of face off and go face to face and have these little conversations. I think even DC came out publicly and goes, "Look, we're past all this. I think we're both grown men. Like, we're not in our prime anymore. We understand, like, that was young. We were young and we were hungry and we thought the other person was in our way, which they were. And we had to get that win. Well, now, like, we're not young. We're not hungry we're not as hungry as we were back then. And, we're just doing this and we're enjoying this. So I think they can actually be around each other without trying to kill each other, which is good to hear. I think it's great to hear. So I'm looking forward to seeing if I can watch this, though. I want to see how it all plays out. Not just them as coaches, but you got a lot of really good Russian fighters that are out there. I want to see how it works out. So this sounds like a fun a fun TV show, like a series or competition or reality show. It sounds like a good one. So, I mean, it's good to see. I'm glad that if they could try to at least bury it a little bit. What else you got for me, Dave?
All right, then let's hop into the one that we touched on earlier. Ben Askren and DC talking our thing here. This was the comments about Nate Diaz that we talked about earlier. Ben Askren says he is convinced people he's good at fighting somehow, some way. He was average. His record is 21-13. That's not that great. Within the UFC, he was 16-12. DC replies, "That's not good. There's really no way to twist that into good." What do you think?
Okay. Let me say this. Can you pull up Nate Diaz, his record, and then pull up BJ Penn's? Let's look at Nate Diaz first. Nate Diaz, is the Ultimate Fighter finale. He fights Manny Gambarian. He lost to Hermes Franca in the WC 24 back in the day. But I'm going to go down that Junior Assunção, good fighter. Very good fighter. I believe he fought for the title one time.
Where are we starting?
All the way down at the bottom where he lost to Hermes Franca.
Okay.
In the WC. Alvin Robinson, don't remember. Kurt Pellegrino, good wrestler, finished him. Good wrestler, good jiu-jitsu guy, finished him with a triangle. Josh Neer, another good fighter. Ended up training with Josh Neer afterwards. Okay. Clay Guida, lost to Clay Guida, lost to Joe Stevenson. Okay. Comes back, beats Melvin Gillard. Good fighter, entertaining fighter. Not a great fighter, though. Lost to Gray Maynard. Then he fights Rory Markham. Rory Markham was a dog of a fighter. Good fighter, good stand-up guy. Marcus Davis, good stand-up guy. beats both those guys. TKO, Rory Markham, and guillotine, Marcus Davis. Marcus Davis was the Irish hand grenade, I believe. Short, stocky, good power in his hands, good boxing. Goes up and fights at welterweight. Loses to Dong Yu Chin and loses to Rory McDonald. Gets ragdolled by Rory McDonald going up to weight. Then he fights, I believe, then he comes back down to 55, and he fights Takanori Gomi, who was considered to be one of the best in the game, especially at lightweight. Then he just walks through Donald Cerrone. It was a nasty, nasty fight on how he beat Donald. It shocked me how he made it look so easy. He was touching him, piecing him up. Donald was frustrated. Cerrone didn't know what to do. Just couldn't get the rhythm going. Had no answer for Nate striking, for his boxing. Beats Jim Miller, guillotine choke. Then he fights for the title. Then he loses to Benson Henderson, loses to me. Then he beats Gray Maynard. And they're talking about him getting back to another title shot. Then he loses to RDA. Okay, and then RDA, and then he beats Michael Johnson, beats Conor McGregor. Took the fight. That's when Conor McGregor was on his run. Took that fight, though, let's not forget, took that fight on like 5 days' notice or some shit against Conor McGregor. Gets the win. Fights him again, loses. Cashes out. Beats Anthony Pettis. Then he loses to Masvidal, Leon Edwards. These are all world, and then beats Tony Ferguson at the end. Don't tell me that he was not a good fighter. Don't tell me that he wasn't an elite fighter. He was. All of these guys that he beat, they were all guys that were in the top 10, top 5 when he fought them. All of these guys are dogs. All of these guys, think about Jim Miller's got the most fights in UFC history. Still around. I don't think they've let him go. I don't think they released him. He's still around. Cowboy Cerrone, I think, is coming back. From what I heard, he's coming back. I think he's still trying to get the TRT out of his system. But I think he's back into the drug pool. Gomi was considered to be one of the best, man. One of the best ever. He lost to Rory McDonald when Rory McDonald was an animal. It doesn't make sense to me why we're not giving him credit. I'm gonna get on Ben Askren for that. For what I understand, he even started to sway DC for that. Then let's take a look at guys like BJ Penn. Yeah, BJ's up there. Pull BJ's up. So you take a look at BJ Penn's. Go down all the way down to the bottom. Go down towards like some of his first UFC fights. There you go. Okay, look, you got Joey Gilbert, who was a stud of a wrestler. He gets his back, finishes him TKO. That was his first fight in the UFC. Let me set this up. Joe Silva did not want to sign BJ Penn. Just said no. Dana Lorenzo had to tell him, no, we're signing him. He's like, no, he's just a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but he's not ready for the UFC. He's not ready. Goes out there, destroys Joey Gilbert. Goes out there and finishes and flatlines Dean Thomas. Flatlines Caru Uno in 11 seconds. Fights Jens Pulver. Loses the decision. Didn't come in shape. Thought he's going to be able to just walk through him. Beats Paul Creighton, beats Matt Serra, and gets a draw with Caru Uno in the lightweight tournament that they had. Leaves the UFC, goes and starts and fights in his own company called Rumble in the Rock. Flies in Takanori Gomi, who everyone considered to be the best lightweight in the world at the time. I was there, front row, watching this. He absolutely dismantled him, destroyed him, and then finally got to his back and choked him. I was there at the rules meeting, and they're telling, and Gomi's asking, like, okay, is there kicks? Like, is there stomps to the head on the ground? None of these rules, they had kind of been talked about beforehand, but the biggest rule was, like, they started talking about at the rules meeting, and BJ's looking right at Takanori Gomi, right in the face, as they're asking, so we can stomp the head on the ground. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want. So, he's like, elbows on the ground. He's like, yeah, whatever you want. Anything you want. Knees to the head on the ground. Yep, whatever you want. BJ's not looking away from Takanori Gomi. He's like, yes, whatever you want to do is what we'll do. And he went out there and dismantled Takanori Gomi. Scroll up a little bit. Keep going. Then he fought. That's good right there. Then he fought Matt Hughes. Finishes Matt Hughes at UFC 46. I was on that card. Fights Dwayne Ludwig. Dismantles him in K1. destroys him in K1, you know, and then he fights Rodrigo Gracie, a lot bigger than him. Just basically just controls him and dominates him. Then he goes over to K1 and decides that he wants to fight Lyoto Machida, who's 220 pounds. What I'm getting at is that then you've got Renzo Gracie, George St. Pierre, Matt Hughes, Jens Pulver again, and the list goes on and on. People want to look at the end of these guys' career. What Ben Askren is saying is, oh, he was kind of a mediocre fighter. No, look at the guys that they fought and look at the times that they fought him in. Those guys were some of the best guys in the world at the time they fought him. And maybe their record doesn't reflect that as they got older. Like you scroll up, keep going up after the Frankie fight. So he beats Kenny Florian, he beats Diego Sanchez, but then look, he starts losing. Nick Diaz, who's at Roy McDonald, Frankie Edgar, Yair Rodriguez, Dennis Seaver, Ryan Hall, Clay Guida. I mean, like, we're rattling off those losses because he's getting older. Then obviously, I think now we all know that there was a little bit, some more other issues going on. But bottom line is, I'm not going to call BJ, no different than I would call Nate. Pull up Randy Couture. Randy Couture has a very, like, almost close to 50-50 record. You're going to tell me that guy was mediocre too? So I don't look at the records as much when I'm taking a look at them. What's his record? 19-11. So it's not me. It's not 50-50, but you can't say what Randy did in his career that was mediocre. And then I know Nate was never champion. BJ was champion in 2 different weight classes. Randy was champion in 2 different weight classes. But Nate also, too, I take a look, is that weight class is one of the toughest weight classes, especially when he was in it young. One of the toughest weight classes ever. You know, all the guys he had to try to go through were just, that weight class is a really tough weight class. It's always been a tough weight class. It continues to be a tough weight class. Look, Nate is a stud. I'm not going to discredit him whatsoever. You know, he had some great performances and he had some very lackluster performances. Let's not, like, almost as if like he didn't want to be there, you know, and it happens. But I mean, I understand where they're coming from. They take a look and they go, look, your record was this. I think what hurt him is that he was never champion. Had he been able to be champion and he won the title one time, they wouldn't be saying any of this. They wouldn't be saying any of it. So I think he had that chance. He came up short against Benson. But all right, what else you got?
That was it. That was the last one.
All right. All right. Well, hey guys, I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to support the show. Thank you guys. And hit that like and subscribe button, man. So we do lives on Tuesday night. We're going to try and do them at 7:30. I know there's a little miscommunication on the thumbnail tonight, but let's go ahead and we're going to try to continue to do these on Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern time. So it's 7:30 our time, Dave and my time. So, but I want to thank you guys. And I got a show going tomorrow. I'm going to film it. We're going to get it edited and put out for you guys. But I got my boy, man, Luke Thomas, jumping on with me. So if you guys keep an eye out, hit that bell, hit that for the notifications when we drop that show. We will drop it this week. I'm going to get that thing done tomorrow. We're going to chat, have a great conversation with him. Love it. Luke he's got a bright mind, man. Love talking to him and looking forward to, we've had him on before and I'm going to have him on again tomorrow. So looking forward to having that interview and chatting with him and moving on to, you know, what does Morning Combat look like now that BC is moving on to CBS and Luke is, he's got several shows now that he does. And so I'm looking forward to hearing his take on all these things. I'll tell you some of the topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how is fighter pay going to be affected with the new CBS Paramount deal. We're going to talk about a little bit of what we talked about tonight is UFC pushing out the wrestlers, you know, for the network deal that they have. We're going to talk about is women's MMA on the chopping block. That's another thing that I want that we'll probably talk about. There's a lot of things that we have on the table for tomorrow. So hey, we will get that show filmed tomorrow and get that thing out to you as soon as possible. Hit the bell for notifications, hit that thumbs up for the like button, and hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys, and we're out.